My name is Natalia Koliada. I'm co-founder of Belarus Theatre together with my husband Natalia Koliada and director Vladimir Sherbin. And today I'm here on behalf of my friends who are now in jail in Belarus, and of those other people who I even don't know, but they're in jail and they face up to 15 years in KGB jails in Belarus.
Can you tell us about how you came to be here and how you fled Belarus?
The starting point, actually, it's 16 years ago when dictator came into power. So we live in the last dictatorship in Europe, and it's already for the last 16 years. But on December 19, we had a presidential election in our country, and our closest friend, Andrei Sannikov, he ran for the presidency. And we went to support him to the streets of Minsk for pro-democracy rally to just stand up and say that our voices need to be counted, and we insist on free and fair elections. But elections were falsified, and it was an absolutely bloody crackdown. 700 people got arrested, and if you were in Minsk that day, that night, you would see a lot of shoes and boots all over snow, and a lot of blood on the snow. And that day I was detained as many other people, and I stayed in jail overnight. And there were hundreds of women staying and facing walls in the jail, and many hundreds of men who stood with their hands back and facing walls, and they were not allowed to drink, to use toilet, to sleep. And for today we know that tortures are implemented in KGB jail for those people who are still in jail, and there are 56 people who face 15 years in jail. So we left the country on December 31st with the help of our friends and relatives, organizing the whole left not from Belarus. So we're on the road for 3 months. Our younger daughter, she is with us, and she's out of school for 3 months already. But our situation, it's not possible to compare our situation to what's happening now in Belarus. And Irina Khalib, who received the Courage in Journalism Award, who is the wife of Andrei Sannikov, you are under house arrest. You cannot use internet, you cannot move around your apartment without 2 KGB agents who stay with you for 24 hours. You cannot come to windows, to doors, and her 3-year-old son, even he cannot go to the door to open this door. And there are 7 presidential candidates who were arrested, and 2 of them are still in jail, and 1 of them is under house arrest, Vladimir Natalias. 3 of them were severely beaten up, and we don't know their health conditions. Lawyers are disbanded from their license, and they are not allowed to visit their clients. So there is no information whether they are still alive, what is going on with them, and people are getting from 4 to 15 years in jail. So the minimum that they get is 4 years. This is what we hear now. And it's ongoing process. And what is important to remember that Belarus is one of the toppest countries, at least it was 5 years ago, that sold arms and weapons to such countries like Libya, Iran, Iraq, Syria, and today Gaddafi is fighting with these arms and weapons against his own people, but all these arms and weapons came from Belarus. And it might be time to pay attention to this country, that it's dangerous not only for his people inside of the country. It's 10 million people who live in Belarus, but it's dangerous for the whole world, and it's probably time to pay attention to it. And the first office that was under crackdown, it was the office of Charter 97 website, the most influential website in Belarus. All of people were arrested there. Natalia Koliada was taken to KGB, and now after 40 days in jail, she is moved to her hometown. She doesn't have passport anymore. It means that she cannot leave even her hometown. And offices of other media, independent media, they were under total crackdown with confiscation of equipment, with beating of journalists, interrogation, and it's ongoing process in Belarus.
Surely it must be very dangerous for you to be talking to us.
You're coming in at the point that when your co-citizens, I even don't tell you that they are my best friends. I don't have friends anymore who could stand by me now. All of them are in jails. And whether they're in jails or as it's happened to Oleg Bibenin, he was killed in September, and another friend was killed in 1999. This is the starting point when all of it became to develop, when death squad started to operate in Belarus and people got kidnapped and killed. So the authorities, they overcrossed the line. They started to kill and murder people and throw them to jail and use tortures. So for me personally and for my husband, this is the point that you understand you need to speak, and this is the only thing that you could do now, is to speak very loudly. I believe we need just to scream in order for the world to start to pay attention to this country that is located in Europe.
And what have you been doing since you left Belarus?
We've been performing because we're theater makers, and this is an underground company that consists of amazing actors, but all of them with us for 6 years, and not many people want to join us because when you join Belarus Free Theatre, it means that you lose your job, your education, place where to live, you are beaten up, arrested, go to jail, so different ways of harassment. And director Vladimir Sherbin, who produce majority of our performances, these people are performing and producing and talking about what is happening in Belarus and what is happening in the world by means of this theater. And we've been performing in New York, in Hong Kong. Now next Monday, March 28, we go to protest together with our patrons Tom Stoppard and Jude Law to the streets of London. And then it would be for the first time in the history of British Parliament when artists would be allowed to the House of Commons to perform there. And this is the way how we try to attract attention. And this is what we want to do. We want just to do theater, but it's time not just to do theater. It's time to be just people and talk about co-citizens and attract attention to them.
And can you talk a little bit about your play, Being Harold Pinter?
It's really amazing story. It started when our friend and patron Tom Stoppard came to Minsk. It was an amazing event when British playwright came to visit artists underground in Belarus. And he spent a lot of time with artists there and meeting those public and political leaders who are now in jail, and meeting wives of those who were kidnapped and killed. So he knows everything what is happening in Belarus, and he said, you need to pay attention to Harold Pinter plays. At that time, they were not translated, but Harold Pinter got Nobel Prize, and we were lucky that plays were translated. We started to read Vladimir Sherbin and my husband, who found his Nobel speech, and it appeared that these are the plays that reflect situation in Belarus. So Vladimir came with the amazing idea to build the whole performance on Harold Pinter Nobel speech and to add the 6 plays of him. And then to incorporate letters of political prisoners of Belarus in order to show transformation from violence domestic violence that is going to the state violence, clashes in between states, and transformation from violence in the place to reality in Belarus. So it was an idea, and it's called Being Harold Pinter. And Harold Pinter saw this performance, and he was a great friend of us, and it was his last appearance when he saw that performance in London. His wife, Lady Antonia Fraser, is with us these days, and amazing message, and I think it was one of the theater mission when we started to define the mission of the theater, what it means. And as Harold Pinter says that see what is happening from another side of that mirror.